Hello, I'm Zed Avatar. This is an educational video. I am making this video because been a lot of discussions and a lot of arguments on the forums about Eternal Crusade, just ridiculous shit. I just want to put it all in the open so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This post, there's been repeated posts talking about plasma weapons. Now, we all know that currently they are overpowered. That's intentional. The devs have said so, that they're going to... that's the way they're going to be when they're fully optimized, whatnot. And they're going to have high point loads and whatnot. So it's, to be expected, but they just keep coming up. So I listed all the other plasma threads that we've discussed it to fucking death. Pretty much, I just want to point out that, because they keep coming up with the gets hot mechanic, right? They keep wanting to say having to damage your shooter that takes damage, random chance. In the tabletop, they do that because it's basically like a mitigation, because it's so damaging. Like, you can one-shot a rhino with a plasma pistol, right? This one round of combat, plasma pistol, bam, rhino's gone. It's too much of a disconnect between the platforms. I keep saying this. People keep talking about how different it is in the tabletop. We can't do that, right? We cannot straight convertible stats to make it work. There needs to be no added risk using weapon, right? It already has slow movement while charging, a huge bright glowing thing in your hands that attracts enemy fire, inaccurate snap, significant cooldown, blah blah blah. In the old school tabletop plasma cannon actually had two firing modes, full charge and in the pen and paper. The plasma weapons have snapshots, fire, aim shots, and charge shots. So I think it's in Deathwatch. I've read it before in these forums. Pretty much, I have said this before. If your plasma gun deals damage to you, but you still get phenomenal kills, like if you're 30 and 5, and your gun kills you another 5 times over 30 minutes, you're still 30 and 10. You're still getting a phenomenal ratio. So I don't see how it's going to mitigate anything. And if you set it too high, it just makes plasma weapons worthless, and people just use bolt weapons. I mean, it serves no purpose. The correct way to balance the plasma cannon and any of the plasma weapons is to adjust the damage being dealt, pretty much, right? Now, that's beyond the point. Zaeryn continues to argue the point. He always brings up his TT builds. He always brings up his TT base builds. He says they're completely balanced, and sometimes other people agree with him. But yeah, so pretty much just continue arguing and using his builds as a source. Let's examine his builds, okay? This is his build forum, October 3rd, 2015. Okay, so basically, let's start with the TTK. So he talks about bolter. Its current, this is his ideals, 1.75, and he went into a lot of fucking detail. It's not that bad, except there's a lot of really big issues here. Like, a player tactical can roll 10 times before they run out of stamina. Anyways, back to the TTK, 1.75 seconds. I did a test in game just now. I know that it's 9 bolts to the chest to kill a tactical right now. The other classes have slightly different health, but 9 bolts to the chest, and It's actually 1.6 seconds. 5505, we can fire off 9 bolts in 1.6 seconds, as you can see. Okay, so right here is arguably where the last bolt lands. Right? Right there. So 56.65 minus 55.5 is 1.6 seconds. 1.6 seconds. Yeah, so not far off. He's talked about raising the TTK. Not a big deal. So he's more or less on par. However, he has a really ridiculous way of calculating armor and weapon damage based on increasing or lessening damage on a comparison of armor penetration versus armor save. Hit points is determined by a combination of wounds and toughness. These combined cause high armor piercing weapons to simply do increased damage to a target with lower armor values rather than penetrating them completely. So if you look here, where's the so the heavy bolter against the space marine, right? So 5 bolts to down the marine, right? So he does his weapon damage times, I don't know where he gets these numbers. He just used some multipliers to make it work in his head, right? So weapon strength times 0.335 plus armor piercing minus armor value. Now he did 7 minus AP save, or armor save. So like a marine with a 4 plus, sorry, a marine with a 3 plus has a 4 armor value, whereas an Avenger with a 4 plus has 3 armor value. Okay, so he reversed that. And again, a multiplier equals penetration damage. So he basically is dealing damage to the armor and hit points at the same time. We saw here that armor value is 66. So heavy bolter will drop marine armor in 3 shots. And doing 2.8 hit point damage. So those 3 shots will do... So, I mean, it's a fairly good system for this. But here's where it fails. We're looking at a plasma gun. Strength 7 AP2 causes a 2-shot down on Space Marines. Or a Dire Avenger, 1 shot. Or a Wraith Lord, 21 shots and 24 delete. So 45 shots against Wraith Lord. This is ridiculous. A las cannon shooting a rhino, 15 shots. On rear armor, 20 shots. This is ridiculous. 45. It's just. I don't know why he possibly could think that this is an effective system. It's mind-boggling. And he's going on the forums and saying he keeps calling me an idiot. It's usually easier just to give up when you're wrong. Yes, I'm totally wrong. Oh man, this drives me crazy. Here's another argument we had. So being able to damage an enemy no matter what. I mean, it's just real simple shit. But being able to damage an enemy no matter what in a video game is not very fun. But there are plenty of games in which there are targets you can't kill, like Battlefield game or any RTS vehicles, right? Bullets generally don't kill tanks. There's some games that it does, but those games pretty much stretch the imagination, right? But yeah, the last one. This is why I really record it. Okay. And he's arguing his points, but every time he goes back to saying that where is it? He doesn't even consider your point. He just everything goes back to his builds. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. is armor versus HP. It's the reverse of what it is now. Right now, it's very balanced because the players have a lot of health and not a lot of armor. The armor self regenerates. It's kind of like the player's own shield, whereas the health is something that they either need to kit for with a med kit or a support class heals them. Right? He wants to do it the other way around, pretty much making it so that you don't really need the support classes or the kits. Right? Is taking away from the game. I don't see how that adds anything. He says it's again to be more like the tabletop, right? Tabletop is and even more funny. He said, "Oh, I just gotta find it here." Right there. The narrow-minded people, you look at the simple mechanics of the tabletop and short-sightedly attempt to directly translate because there's too much of a disconnect between platforms. So, is he now agreeing with me? Because I've kept telling him that the TT-based builds won't work because it's a completely different fucking game. And now he said that back to me in his response and telling me to give up because I'm wrong. And saying that those with intelligence would understand exactly what he's talking about. Yet, I've only seen one or two other people on the forums who actually agree with him. I don't fucking understand it. It just does not make sense at all. Does not make sense. Plasma gun, 2-shot on a Marine. 1 shot on an Avenger. And he thinks this is fair and reasonable. Right? Heavy bolter against the Reiner, 197 bolts. He actually thinks that this is balanced. What the fuck? Oh, man. I'm seriously at the point where he just... I think he's trolling for the sake of trolling because he realizes there's nothing else he can do. You know, I cut him down before on another thread, and I actually felt that I was a little harsh, and so I gave him another chance to start replying to his shit again. But this is ridiculous. It's even worse. Zaeryn, stop. I'm not going to reply to any of your shit anymore. And I really think you're just trolling. There's no other reasoning. Yeah, that's it.